And now, Living Well with LDS Hospital.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, it's summer, and these kids are out of school. We don't know what to do with them. They don't know what to do with themselves. We're here with Sierra Party from Intermountain Healthcare. You're from Briner Pediatrics, the Salt Lake Clinic. Thank you for being here. And we're talking about healthy screen time limits. And this is something Jessie and I have been picking her brain, what these limits are and why it's important. So first of all, how much screen time is actually appropriate?
Well, there are published guidelines from the American Academy of Pediatrics. They're pretty easy to find online. Briefly, if you can avoid screen time entirely under 18 months, that's what you want to do.
And when we're talking screen time, we aren't just talking iPad, handing them my phone, even television.
Even television, even movies. So really, we think that video chatting is okay. You know, like Skype
Seeing
and
grandma
FaceTime. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, getting to know your relatives if they live somewhere else. But other than that, really trying to avoid screens under 18 months.
Okay.
If you can make it all the way till 2, that's even better.
Oh, wow. That seems like, in this day and age, probably hard to do.
Right, especially if they're older siblings. So if you are starting screen time at 18 months, we actually recommend having parents watch with your children so that you can talk about what's going on the screen, make it a little bit of a social event, build on some of those social skills.
Which makes sense.
And then once you get to that 2-year mark, from 2 until 5, try and keep it at an hour a day. Once we're 6 and older, the recommendations have actually liberalized a little bit, and they talk much more about content and appropriate high-quality content rather than, strict time. But I think a good time guideline is still try and keep it at that hour to 2 hours a day maximum, even for older kids.
So a question for you about that. So obviously I'm not giving my 3-year-old sending him in for an hour watching it. It's just throughout the day. Do they have any limits or guidelines or maybe recommendations for chunks of time and how much per chunk of time?
Actually, there's not much about chunk of time. It's more like total time in the day. And the trick with doing things sort of through the day is that it's very easy to have time creep. It's very easy for all of a sudden to reach, oh wait, we're an hour and a half, oh we're 2 hours. Those little chunks of time add up quite a bit. So I almost think it's better to do sort of a discrete chunk. We have this time of day, have it be scheduled. This is when we're going to do our screen time. The other thing that can help with is if your house is anything like our house, there is a huge power struggle around screen time. There is a constant, can I watch now? Can I watch now? Is it time yet? And if you have scheduled times of day where it's okay, then either before then or after then you can say, you know what? I'm really sorry, it's not our screen time. It helps a little bit with the power struggle.
Okay, another thing that's important to talk about is within that screen time, you want to have some good quality content that they're watching. So quantity and quality matters, right?
Absolutely. And that is something we're really trying to emphasize, is that it's not just quantity, quality is really important, possibly more important actually.
So if you're trying to find good quality for your kids to be focusing on during screen time, is there something you recommend?
Well, I mean, I have my own personal bias. I think you can't go wrong with PBS Kids. So they are very high quality programming, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the old classic, oh my goodness, they're just, you really can't get better than that for kids. It's got imaginative play in there, it's slow paced. Things that are slow paced are much better, developmentally speaking, than things that are fast, blam, 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 colors everywhere. So I would say keep it slow.
One thing I love is that you've suggested the importance of actually having screen time together with your children. Because I have found it can be isolating, like Braille's off watching her show. I'm off maybe watching my show too. But when we come together and we can enjoy it together and good quality content, there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, it has another benefit too. So children learn a lot of their behavior from watching what other people do. It's called modeling. And when we're watching TV or movies or screen time, we are learning from the behavior of those characters on the screen. And so if someone on the screen is doing something, that being mean to a friend, acting out bullying, or disobeying a parent, it is really valuable to take that time and sit down and say, hey, did you notice what this character was doing? What do you think about that? How do you think it made the other person feel? So basically building empathy and then saying, you know what, maybe we shouldn't act like that in real life. That was a choice they made that for our friends probably wouldn't be a very kind choice. So
I love turning that into a positive moment. What I want to know is when I'm giving a screen to my kids, it's to fight boredom. What are we supposed to do this summer about boredom? When they come and say, I'm bored, they probably already said it 5 times today to you right now.
That is such a good question. So boredom is a valuable feeling, and I know that sounds crazy, but when we feel bored, what it really is an opportunity to problem solve. It's an opportunity for us to look inside ourselves, see what we are even like inside, what we want to do. And so there's kind of 3 steps you can take when your kids come to you and say, I'm bored, I'm bored. The first step is really simple. Validate the feeling, reflect it back to them. You are bored. You want to watch screens right now. Step number 2 is to restate your limit. It's not time to watch screens right now. We'll do that later. Step number 3 is to problem solve and use those words. Say, we're going to problem solve this. We're going to stretch our brain. We're going to learn a new skill. We're going to practice how to be entertained without screens. Why don't you think of a couple of things that you could do that isn't screen time? I'll think of a couple of things we could do that isn't screen time, and then we'll decide.
Such great tips. Thank you so much for being with us today. Check out more information and tips for how to limit screen time for your children this summer at ldshospital.org/healthyliving. Also, we will link them from our website. Gosh, those are great tips. I need to be working on those this summer. Devin, you going to start working on those with your kids?
I am, and I'm super stoked to hear that Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood tops the list.
Oh, awesome.
Ride along. Gotta love it up.